Hello, everyone. I'm Ellie from Nourishment Redacted, and welcome to Lioness Lifestyle Live. This is a show where we honor a keto, carnivore, and meat-based woman. They share their experience and their healing journey to inspire and bring our community together, usually. But we're so happy to spend this evening with you, chatting, doing a roundtable discussion, answering your questions, giving life updates.
Absolutely, Ellie. And I am Christy from Meeting Wellness. And as always, it is very nice to meet with all of you this evening. We've all been inspired by someone's story. And we believe that sharing these stories, including our life updates and what's been going on with us and these lovely roundtable discussions, is one of the very best ways to help people who are sick and without hope.
And I'm Adrian K. Gledhill, and I do not have the script up, so I'm just here for the looks today. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Well, so if you have any questions for us, just make sure to put a QQQ or question mark so we can pop that up there. I should probably do the banner. There, that thing right there.
Yes, she's back at the job as button pusher. I know there was one night I was like, they're like, who's pushing buttons? I'm like, me. I'm doing all the things. And then Adrian was so awesome for us last week. But here we all three are on the screen. And I am so excited for this week's Roar of the Week. And here it is. Great interview. Adrian, like I said, she took one for the team like a champ, and she interviewed Christina for us. And this person is saying that Christina is a gem and shared so much good information with us. So thank you so much, Joanne Underwood, 1021. If you have not checked out the interview from last week that Adrian did with Christina, it was fantastic. I recommend right after the show, go and give it a watch.
I was on mute. Okay, absolutely. I've missed everybody. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been gone for a while, and I think I needed it. I needed the time to recover and recuperate and get my brain in order. And I'm just so glad to be back. Thank you. I want to say a special thank you to Christy and Adrian for being so kind, so patient, and so loving to me as always. It's just so great to be here with them and everyone in the chat.
Oh, well, Ellie, you were definitely missed, but we are always here for you and support you in everything that's going on. I'm looking forward to hearing your life update in a few minutes here because, you just haven't posted in like a month. We were talking today and you're like, I haven't updated anyone. And a side note, we did not coordinate our wardrobes, but look at us go with the pink and black theme. I just had to point that out. We lionesses are in sync today.
So cute. I love it. Okay, so
what is our topic today?
Oh, we're doing like a life
in the notes. I don't see anything.
Yeah, life update. And then if any one of you in the chat have anything to add that you would like to hear us roar about, we would love to do that. Also, there's something that's just been kind of stuck in my craw, and I know that is not a lion reference, but it's been bugging me. And I did a live stream with Mike Shaw this last weekend, and we talked a little bit about it, but it didn't get it all out of my system. So I wanted to bring it up with you ladies tonight as well and see what you guys think, and the people watching see what you guys think too. So that's kind of what's on for tonight. And also, if either of you have any hot topics that you wanted to bring up, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. I think children are trying to break into my room. That's always fun. Yeah, I most definitely want to reconnect with everybody, and just if there's anything that's on your heart, feel free to ask us or talk to us. Let's pull this comment up from Erin. She has, I've been missing these. Having to edit at night has messed up my YouTube nighttime. So, we miss you too. Absolutely, Erin.
Well, Ellie, I would love it if you started with the life update, and then we can just go around in our little mini circle here. What has been going on with you? Feel free to share with us. And if you need to take a break and deal with the people breaking in at your door, totally fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, man, it's a lot. So I'm just going to flat out say it. I had another miscarriage. If you didn't know, I had one back in August of last year, and I had another one. My husband and I were trying to, we wanted to grow our family. We have, if you don't know, we have a son and a daughter already. We're very blessed with that. But it seemed like it's not meant to be, or the timing is not right, or it's not in God's plan, however you want to interpret that. So it's been, and also while I was having the miscarriage, my husband also had the flu. Our sink stopped working, and and we were just trying to navigate everything. We're just trying to navigate everything. Oh, thank you, Bruce. We're just trying to navigate everything, and I've been trying to refocus my life without being addicted to this. This is a cell phone, a very old cell phone, but it's my cell phone. And I've been struggling with just constantly being on it, doom scrolling, watching content. And because it's my little escape, it's how I guess, recharge. And I don't think it's, so basically what I'm doing is I'm replacing that recharge with the sun. I'm recharging it with family time. I'm recharging it with my brand new vibration plate, which has been helping my lipedema and my swelling like considerably. We can talk more about that later. If you hear a child crying, yeah, I have children. And yeah, so I've been, since being unplugged. Oh, thank you, Thomas. I've missed you. I stopped being on Steak and Butter Gang. I decided to take a step back from that as well. And that's how I know Thomas. So yeah, it's been a lot, but I feel like I needed the reset. And I feel like because I've unplugged, I am now able to regulate my use of technology, and I feel a sense of peace in my mind. I really do. I feel so much more calm, and also because of the miscarriage, I was having, I was emotional. Like I sent these ladies so many crying voice messages, and I'm so sorry and embarrassed by that, but it's true. My hormones have been so out of whack, and it just took a while to recover. So that's kind of the gist of what's been going on. I have a tan now. Oh my gosh, the house goblin left her house. And yeah, so that's eating wise. So I did stop eating carnivore when the miscarriage happened, because frankly I could not really cook. I was kind of, because like the sad thing about it all was, like, when I went to the hospital and I started noticing bleeding, they told me there was a heartbeat. And so they told me to go on bed rest. And I was so hopeful and so happy, like praying. And then obviously it didn't end up turning out. So then, I don't know. I think that when you're in a time of stress, sometimes depending on your coping mechanisms, these things kind of they rear their ugly head. And I just felt that all I was doing was this and this, eating, right? And so because I was doing that, I was feeling super inflamed. And since my last miscarriage, I had gained like 30 pounds. I've gained all the way back, basically. And it's not like I was off plan that whole time, right? It was probably like 2 months. And I was even trying to be keto in those, like, or lower carb, making better choices. Now I'm pretty much meat based again, very, very low carb. And so that's kind of like where my diet is, and I feel really good about that. And I kind of want to do the whole thing with like that Nisha does. So she has her green foods, her yellow foods, and red foods, like a stoplight. Green foods are foods that she can eat all the time. Yellow foods are foods that she lets in every once in a while. And then the red foods, obviously, no go. So yeah, I feel like, did I touch on everything? I feel like that was pretty much everything.
Yeah, Ellie, you never have to be embarrassed about all of those messages you sent us. I know you know this about me, and it's not recent at all, but my very first pregnancy ended in miscarriage. So when I say that I understand, I do. And the emotions of it all. And I think there's more women out there that have experienced this and just don't even talk about it. But anyways, you can always lean on us. So as far as my life update, well, I'm currently on spring break, ladies. Yay, go me. It is crazy to me so carnivore definitely gives me more energy. I've said this before, even, when I am teaching, I have much more energy since eating a lot of meat, mostly meat, than I ever did before. I have a happier outlook on the whole situation, even though I know I talk about the negatives of it because teaching has changed a lot. Our culture has changed a lot. But overall, when I'm driving to work, I'm going to be happy to see my students. I know I'll have energy to make it through the day. But even so, at the end of the day, I'm still, pretty tired out. It is tiring, being in charge of, 30 kiddos all day long. And then also dealing with everything that goes along with that. So one of the things that is so striking to me that I kind of always forget, but then when I go on a break, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, is when I'm teaching, I wake up in the middle of the night, like 3:30 in the morning, and I don't go back to sleep. I just get up. Ellie knows because she's 3 hours ahead of me, and I'll message her, and she knows darn well that it's like 3:34 in the morning where I am, and there I am, like blah blah blah. Because I'm just awake, and I know it's later for her, and she's up with her kids and whatever. And that's just normal for me because I wake up just kind of thinking about everything I'm gonna have to do that day, what's happening. I get my quiet time at that time, which I do enjoy. But then, so what happened was we had Good Friday off. So last Friday was our official first day of spring break. Nothing new, same thing happened. But I had that one day of no teaching with a week in my head knowing like I have the whole next week off. And Saturday morning, I slept all the way until my alarm, which the only reason there was an alarm set was because I had that live stream with Mike at like 7 a.m. Nice. So I had set an alarm for 5:15 and it went off and I was like, what? Huh? Because my alarm is usually set for 5, but I'm always up by 3:30. But yeah, one day of like not teaching and it's like my body can just relax and I can sleep. And so it's been, yeah, right? It's crazy because it's not like when I'm in it, I feel like I'm not sleeping and I'm, I don't feel that way. But then it's like clearly there's something going on in there that, anyway. So it's been nice over the last few days and I'm looking forward to, summer vacation when I can have a couple months of really good sleep, I think too. The things that have changed in my diet are pretty much nothing. So I'm eating a whole bunch of meat, a whole bunch of picanha. I'm a little nervous Walmart might not be carrying anymore. So stay tuned. I know my Walmart is like always out of stock. I know. So I don't know. The last two out of 3 times I've been on Walmart to go order my picanha, they've had none in stock. And usually when this starts happening and things start getting sketchy, and they mostly don't have something, they're going to get rid of it. So I'm like, dang it. So I have some ideas in the works. I'm not giving that up. So stay tuned for that. Because I go through probably 2 of those picanhas a week because that's pretty much 80% of my diet. I'm a picanivore, you guys.
Yes, you are. And we love it.
Coming up, I have a trip planned with my mom. I'm leaving day after tomorrow for Arizona. And my plan, you guys, I'm such a bad social media influencer. Like I don't get on and just show little things. And then later on, I could have put that for a short, people might want to see that. And it's just doesn't come naturally. So my plan is to sort of film as I go because really there is no plan for food. The place where we're going is offering breakfast and dinner. But definitely not a carnivore or keto or none of that. It's just just standard American kind of a deal. And so I will forage for what I can forage for, and we'll see if I have to go buy some burger patties at any point during the weekend. But I'll definitely let you guys know. My plan is to stay carnivore. And we'll see or I might fast. I don't know. And you all know how much I love that. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me lately and some things that are coming up. How about you, Adrienne? What's been going on with you lately?
Oh my gosh. So much. Okay. So, I have started like a little coaching thing, like a group coaching individual. Don't worry, he's wearing underwear. I told him no more baths unless you keep those on. You better keep those on, buddy. So we're keeping the door open so we can hear him. So if you want to ever get some unfiltered advice, you got to go to radicallyhealthy.com. I also have a Facebook group, but those are being heavily censored, which I probably shouldn't talk about here. So this doesn't get censored, but we're not supposed to be talking about compounding. We're only supposed to talk about name brand. We're not supposed to talk about anything that's not FDA approved. We're not supposed to talk about we're not supposed to talk about symptoms. We're not supposed to talk about anything. Any morning you could sign up, go in, and your Facebook group could be gone. So unfiltered advice, come to radicallyhealthy.com. It has been amazing. Like, it fills my soul and it gives me energy to keep going every day, because every day I get a message that says, I can't believe how different my life is now. And they say things like, I had no idea what this was going to be, and it's not what I thought it was going to be at all. You think it's going to be something, because I help people add GLP-1s to their keto carnivore. You think it's going to make you feel nauseous. You think you're going to feel something, but you don't actually, at the right dose, you don't feel anything. You just eat your meal and you just go on with your day. There's like no snacking. You just eat your meal and you get full. You don't have to eat a ridiculous amount of food. You know, all those people who have like the, what's it called? When you need to eat a bulk of food to ever feel full. I forget what that's called. That stops happening. You get full in an appropriate time and you move on with your life.
Is it volume?
Do you know what it is? Volume eating. Yes. It stops the volume eating and what people don't realize is that you're not getting brain signaling. That's why you're hungry all the time. That's why your body's telling you eat. And that's why it never tells you that you're full, because the signal isn't getting to your brain, and these help stimulate getting signals to your brain. So that's what's going on with business. So all of us have been so busy. Just so busy. And I've had to finally start going, hey, if I don't do something different, I'm going to get burnt out. And I can see it in my burning out because I'm getting really tired a lot. I'm getting sick a lot, and then on top of it, since my husband said it online, I guess I can be open about this. He travels a lot for work. So I'm essentially a single parent of 4 kids all the time. And everybody says, don't talk about that online, but I know a lot of single moms, so it's not like this big shocking. We lock all our doors and nobody knows where we live. So anyway, so being a solo parent, doing all of the driving, doing all of the homework, all of the bathing, all of the cooking, it is a lot. And then to start a business on top of it, it's exhausting, especially an online one. I don't know if people realize how much time this stuff takes, even to just set up the links, set up the thumbnail, set up the description, make sure you didn't screw up the time and date. It takes so much, responding to comments. And so it's quite exhausting. So I'm starting to implement things. Right now, I'm drinking magnesium glycinate powder. I'm also implementing, I should be wearing, but I just hate them. They're just so hideous. The blue blockers. I've got the mouth tape. I bought an organic cotton eye mask so that, why do they put fluorescent lights on everything? Everything. Yes, Ellie. They have the little lights on every outlet, every TV, we don't need to know where the power button is at midnight, So you got these little lights everywhere. So I got my mask. I got some earplugs. I got a weighted blanket. I mean, I am doing it all. This year, my goal has nothing to do with weight loss for the first time in 41 years. For the first time. My goal would be to build some muscle and to get sleep, because I do have some kind of thing going on. And if I could just get sleep, so many things would start functioning better, because nothing can really function if you're not resting. So that is my main thing right now, is throwing everything at that. As far as other news, like with health, we're still working on, I have to talk to my doctor about my test results, but my son, David, who really, really struggles. Anybody who has a kid, David has had significant eye twitches. He gets random times where he just starts throwing up out of nowhere. He has sensory processing. He had significant speech delay. He's always struggled with his weight. He sweats a lot. He has so many issues. And my doctor was like, we're going to test him for Lyme's disease. And I was like, he's never been bit by a tick. And he said it can be transferred from mom to son. So that's why it'll be interesting to talk to him about my test results versus David's. But David tested positive for tick-borne relapsing fever, TBRF, and Bartonella, which are spirochete bacteria that you can get from ticks or from mom. So hopefully we can get this guy some treatment and get him feeling better, because no matter what this guy does, he just keeps struggling. No matter how much meat we feed him, no matter how much we try to get him to walk, his whole body's just locked up. So I'm excited for him to well, I'm not excited for him to have these awful things, but I'm excited to get him some treatment and see him forward. As far as myself, I'm working on trying to be grateful for where I am today, and to remember that I used to not have much function in my arms and legs, that I used to have an inflamed brain beyond repair, that I used to literally not sleep. I would just lay there with my eyes closed all night. I was having intrusive thoughts all the time. I couldn't get in and out of the shower, continual POTS, neuropathy. And I'm in a totally different place today, but I still have some things that are just like the fatigue and the brain fog and the hormone issues, and my thyroid just won't come up, which I'm working with a specialist on that. Anyway, okay. So on a positive note, if anybody likes meetups, I am headed to Meatstock this year. Karen Miles is having a Chicago meetup. And if you would like details, ask me. I will send them to you. After that, oh my gosh, this is going to be the craziest year ever. Because after that, I'm going to the World Peptide Conference. And then after that, I think I'm going to Montana, maybe to meet everybody over there. And then after that, I am speaking at Champions for Health in Orlando, Florida, formerly Keto Orlando. It's now Champions for Health. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy couple of months coming up. And lastly, I just want to say the things I'm working on were all the things, the sleep things, but also turning off my phone, which this program is my exception. Turning off my phone, trying to get it like 7 o'clock. If my phone is on, it needs to be on something besides peptides and carnivore. It can't be work. It needs to be something else. And trying not to do chores after 7 either, because I'm waking up in the middle of the night like this. Like I have to do something. Like I can't let myself get into rest because there's always a chore or a message or a reel that needs to be made. There's always work to be done. So I'm trying to shut the work off 7 o'clock, and I'm trying to do puzzles without the phone. I started listening to more music. I downloaded an app that plays sounds that are supposed to help you with ADHD. And yeah, just trying to get rest. Hopefully I didn't babble too long. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's Adrian's update.
You said one thing, and I highlighted this comment from Aaron so that I wouldn't forget that you talked about sleep masks. So yes, and my husband, I mentioned to him a while back, like a long time ago, about like all these little lights, they wake me up. Like I will wake up because they're little lights you were talking about, and he just thinks I'm bananas. Like he just thinks I'm cuckoo. And so, he's like, he just poo-pooed it. And so there they all are, like everything is still all lit up in there. And I'm like, I need to just get a sleep mask. So thank you, Aaron, for the tip on Dollar Tree. I will check it out. But I need to get a sleep mask because yes, there's little lights all over my room. And my husband is not supportive of getting rid of them. So I think a sleep mask would be a good idea for me.
Well, why would you do that when you could spend $8.99 on Amazon for organic cotton? Just kidding.
That's true. No, I forgot to mention something. Do you mind if I say one more thing about something cool that happened? It's positive. So we went to my in-laws' house for Easter on Sunday, and some of the other family that I didn't know were came. And so my husband's aunt was talking to me. She's really into like health and eating whole foods and a lot of meat and beef tallow and all of that stuff. And so we were talking, and then my son happened to be sitting there too, Zach, and I said, he's been eating carnivore with me for like the last year. And so she had this little conversation with him, and at first he didn't hear her because he had his headphones on, and I said he doesn't really like to talk about it because she had asked him a question. I really didn't have a lot of high hope that he was gonna get involved in the conversation, but he took the headphones off, and I said, Aunt, I don't know if she's okay with me saying her name, so I won't, but Aunt so-and-so has a question for you. And so she asked him about, eating that way. And he was like, yeah, telling her all about how it makes him feel so much better. And she said, so in 10 years from now, and it was very funny because she acted like almost like, because he's a minor, he doesn't have a choice. Like, I promise you, it's all been his choice. Even at the beginning, because you can't control any of that when they're his age. He was 15 when he started. He's now 16. And so it's all been his choice. At any moment in time, he could eat whatever he wants. It's all available in the house, as I've said other times, because of my husband and other son. But anyway, she said, in 10 years from now, when you're just out on your own and you're all in charge of your own life and everything, would you still be eating this way? And he kind of made the same face as when I first asked him to do it and kind of tilted his head to the side and said, well, 10 years is a long time. And he said, but if I had to answer you right now, I would say, yeah, in 10 years, I'm still going to be eting this way. And I was like, oh, that is so cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, he told her it's making him feel better. And he really, doesn't have any plans to stop eating this way. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
That is awesome. And you guys both have some great news to share, great life updates. I had a question for Adrienne. Have you ever heard of something called the silent to-do list?
The silent what?
Silent to-do list. Like a list you have to do list. Silent.
Is it like in your head? Because
yeah, so this is an idea that I learned when I first started learning about minimalism, and it comes from a book. The author's name is Sasaki, and it's in the and he basically has this idea that there is this silent to-do list. Everything that is around you is telling you something that needs to be done, right? The laundry that's not folded, the dishes that aren't washed, the kid that's, verbally screaming at you, that doesn't count. Or that's just on your to-do list always. But, like the dusting and the tuning the car and all that stuff. And so I think it's so great that you are trying to minimize and to unplug and to make sure that you're not bombarding your brain with so much, because all of our things, whether you like it or not, has to be upkept and maintained. And so when you were talking, it made me think about that book and how it just makes me so appreciative of like when we can minimize and when we can unplug and when we can do less for our health, because in the long run you can actually do more with your life, right? If your batteries are charged. So I don't know if you had ever heard of that, so I wanted to bring that up.
So I started doing a couple things. One is I got an hourly planner, and I started using Post-its so that if I don't get it done, I can move it to the next week. One thing that's incredibly exhausting is to have a never-ending to-do list, like you basically just said. And then you feel like, I didn't get anything done today because all of this stuff is still screaming at me. Yeah. And then another thing that I've been doing for a long time is keep one space clean. So for me, that has to be my bedroom, which means I have to clean it every day because here's one of my stressors is we're in temporary housing. We've been in temporary housing ever since I found out about this whole mold illness thing. So we've been in temporary housing for 2 years, and this spot is small. Like it's small. One of the bedrooms is big enough for a twin size bed, and that's it. And we have 6 people. So I'm sharing this room with 2 boys and my husband. So it's just, and I know people are like, get rid of stuff. And it's like, no, we did. We literally did. We got rid of everything. We're living in a camper, essentially. So the clutter definitely is overwhelming. For David, like I was saying with all his issues, we actually ended up cleaning his room out completely because we only have 3 rooms. So his room had toys in it for the boys because the boys don't have a bedroom. So we split the toys between David and Grace's room, and he was starting to have panic attacks because it was just too overwhelming to have the kids' toys in his room. So we swapped it. He now has all the towels in his room, and then we moved all the toys out of his room. But yeah, we're all feeling overwhelmed in this space. Like we just need a home, but it's a really difficult situation when you have a home that's full of mold that you need to remediate to sell, and that costs money, but you're also paying for secondary housing. So it's a tough spot. If you could all send some prayers, that'd be great.
It's
just tough.
I'm always praying for you.
So the silent to-do list, oh my gosh, I've never heard it put quite like that before, Ellie. But if my to-do list starts, if too many like extra things, right? Like you said it, there's the things we have to do every single day. Like I know for sure in the morning, the first thing I'm gonna do after I have my quiet time is I gotta make Zach his breakfast, right? Like his eggs and sausage with butter every day. I gotta do that. And so that's kind of kicks off all the things I gotta do. And I gotta, take my shower, get ready for work, drive my son to school, go work my work day, come home, make myself some dinner, make sure he has something for dinner, which I usually make something and he'll have leftovers for a few days, or if I have to take something out. Those are like the normal things, right, that I have to do. But then, the bill comes for the car registration, or we just had tax day, which I do our taxes here. Like stuff like that comes up. And if it's one thing, like if it's just the car registration and I have to pay by X day or whatever, I can do it, or two. But man, that third or fourth thing, and I start to feel really like panicky and like overwhelmed. And it's like, oh my gosh. And if I can just I have to calm my head down and just be like, okay, plan it out. When are you going to do it? Because if I have to tackle them all at once, it's like, it's too much,? And so it's like, plan it out and do one thing at a time. I do a lot better with doing stuff and then taking a break. I'm like that with large tasks too. Like if I have a large task, I can work on it for a certain amount of time and then give myself permission to sit down and take a break, and then go back to it. I'm not good at tackling things and working on them for hours and hours and hours on end, which is funny because that's how my mom is. Like she's just a workhorse. I didn't inherit that from her.
I don't have that either.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a hard time recognizing too when you need a break? Last weekend, I took the kids to a birthday party at the trampoline park, and Valmer's so little, and there was 1,000 kids there at any time at a trampoline park. A little kid could break their neck. And so this was so stressful. My blood sugar dropped. And after the birthday party, which felt like 16 hours long, we come home and my husband says, okay, I'll watch the kids now so you can get some work done. And at that time I was just sitting there doing my puzzle and I literally couldn't move. And I also could not put into words why I could not work. And he's just looking at me like, I'm here to help. So use my help. And it was like, I was just so exhausted that I couldn't.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't manifest like that. I will pedal to the metal. Like I told you ladies, when you guys were expressing your more recent burnout, like I was burnt out for 4 months and I didn't do a lot for my own personal channel, but I didn't feel like I could let you guys down. So I just didn't say anything to you guys. I'll just keep my mouth shut and just keep on doing it no matter how stressed I start to feel, because I don't want to disappoint people, which I know is not healthy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel the same way. It was tearing me up inside, like the fact that I couldn't come on one of my favorite things to do every week and be with some of my favorite people. And it was tearing me up inside that I was just like, I can't do it. And it was really sad for me to leave Steak and Butter Gang. That was really sad. I cried so hard because I don't know, I felt like I was needed in a way that I didn't expect. And it felt like it was, placed upon me to where maybe, I don't know, there's a lot to it, but I feel like that community really helped me get back into carnivore after my first trimester, my first miscarriage. And I thought them asking me to be on their team, I was like, oh, well, I can do so much more. And then that was taking up so much time too. So it was doing that, being the mom to the 3 kids, doing my own YouTube, and then, obviously all the things in the house, I felt like everything was just stacking up on top of each other. And then I was pregnant. And then I wasn't pregnant, and then my hormones were I felt like it was like I was a Jenga. You know, the game, you pull the little blocks out, and then you have to try to make sure you have to last longer than the other players, basically. And then if you pull one and it all falls, well, game over, you lose. And so I felt like that's all I was doing constantly, just giving. And then when I wasn't giving, I was on this escaping, and like that was just too much. So I love your idea about the puzzles, Adrian. I got to get into puzzles again. That's fun.
And what you got to do is, and I didn't realize this because it was stressing me out, was I paid the $13 for the felt that you put down underneath, and I paid the stupid $13 for the roll, and you can roll your puzzle up and tuck it away and take it back out. So it's not sitting there taking up the table. And I mean, it pained me to spend $26 on this. I don't think they sell that at the dollar store.
No, I need that for a different reason. Anyone want to guess what the different reason is? Let's see. She was just around here somewhere. If there's a puzzle out, as soon as we are not working on the puzzle anymore, Pixel jumps up there and starts going like this, like just batting the pieces. And they go flying. And so we gave up on puzzles around here.
Those darn cats, man.
That's what she does. But yes, the felt thing, because she won't do it while we're working on it. But if we leave it there to go somewhere else, and then yeah, she instantly she's up there just how many can I whack?
You know what? Like I was gonna say real quick, this is so dumb. So you know, puzzles, they'll say like the age range on it, right? They'll say 4+ years, you know, but if I do a puzzle in like 2 months, like that's pretty darn good, right? A puzzle shouldn't take 4 years long. Like
I read that wrong.
I recently got one and it was lettered A, B, C, D, E, F. And I was like, thank you. Because it gave you the region, and that was kind of nice. And then you separate out the edges and go to town. It was, you know, 6 mini puzzles, and that was fun. But do we want to talk about the dreaded topic of considering adding other foods, or is that not allowed to be discussed here?
We can talk about it, but before we do, there's a comment from Erin that I just want to pop up so it doesn't get forgotten. So Erin has a share, yay, because we asked for people to put up their questions or shares. So Erin has a share. She says that she's talking to my parents on Easter, and my dad is going low carb keto. Yay for Erin's dad. The whole reason I have a YouTube is for him to watch me and realize he can lower his A1C with Carnivore. So that is fabulous. Best of luck, Erin, to your dad. I know like I'm always talking about my mom. She is doing absolutely fantastic, even though her issue was not an A1C issue. But I know that your dad is going to, you know, do well. If he can stick to it, that A1C will drop. And yeah, best of luck to him. So, okay. Adrian, go ahead. You want to talk about introducing other foods?
So I now work with a group of people who are like, when you add, I don't know if people even realize truly what a peptide is, but like your body's filled with them and it's kind of hormone-like. So when you introduce this to your body, your hormones, it helps your body to start communicating again, your hormones. So like you were just talking about stress, Ellie, and how you really weren't off plan, but you gained weight. I had the same thing happen last summer. And when you have certain hormones that are off, it affects the other hormones actually communicating. So you can get your leptin checked. You can get your ghrelin checked. Is that how you say it? I want to say gremlin. Your ghrelin. You can get your ghrelin checked and they will be present. However, if you have that high cortisol, if you have high inflammation, if you have other things going on, they're not communicating properly. And a sleep can affect it as well. And so anyway, so these get your hormones communicating. Now, when you eat if you eat a piece of fruit, your glucose doesn't spike, your insulin doesn't spike. You have a more appropriate response to your food again. And so when we're on these diets, we're actually trying to avoid our inappropriate responses. We're not actually healing them, we're avoiding them. And these peptides help I'm not going to say heal, but help inspire your body to have an appropriate reaction. So a lot of people will try to add some things back when they're not in weight loss mode, because if you're eating carbohydrates, it kind of gets in the way of the fat burning, in my opinion, still. Also, if you've ever had bariatric surgery, or in this case, people who are on high dose and they can barely eat anything. Well, if you can barely eat anything, you should be eating meat. Like, you should be eating the things that nourish you, and plants aren't super nourishing, and wheat isn't super nourishing, and all that other stuff isn't. Oh, that was interesting. Super nourishing. So anyway, so for my mental health and for other reasons, I have been playing around with adding things back. Some experiments have gone awful because of my reactive hypoglycemia, and some things have gone. Overall, I'm not really a processed foods person, because we just know those aren't natural. We know our body can't have a natural hormone response because it's not a natural food. We know they're created to be addicting. We know they're created to override our brain. So anyway, so I have been considering adding a few foods back. I haven't really found anything that I'm just so in love with. I can't live without it. My meals are primarily still meat-based. Like, every morning is eggs, sausage, cheese, and butter. Every dinner is beef. Yeah. But anyway, so I just want to say that. And another thing that's just very interesting is that I work with a lot of people, and people are telling me about their labs. I'm not a lab interpreter. However, I've seen some people's labs long-term not eating any carbohydrates seems to be having an effect on people, just like we found long-term no fat affected people. Going the other direction long-term seems to be having an effect on some people. Now, a lot of people I work with have like what I have. So was it the what I have, or was it the meat only diet? You know, that's still up for debate. But anyway, just wanted to open the conversation, because I know as people go into things, you sometimes take a step back and take a step in and take a step back and take a step in. And I know I'm not the only one in this group who has been working with this.
Are you kidding me, buddy? Yeah.
So
my idea of adding anything back in for me, myself personally, would be super minimal. Similar to this, I'm thinking of growing my own cucumbers in my apartment to make fermented pickles. Like, I do eat fermented pickles from time to time. Ellie, you were talking about green foods, yellow foods, red foods. For me, those fermented pickles are a yellow food, so I might eat them occasionally when I have burger patties, maybe a couple times a month. I just like that combination, and I'm not scared of them, but I also don't enjoy them so much that I want to eat them every single day. I just like that food combination of eating the fermented pickles with the meat. I think that, you know, the equivalent of any of the carbohydrates with like the teaspoons of sugar, it's crazy. So the low amount of glucose that your blood actually needs, to me, there's really no point in eating carbs, because a very small serving of even something, a whole food like rice, is going to be like way more glucose than needs to be in your blood, regardless of how your hormones are going to handle that. For me, that's for me. So I know that I will never add those things in. Also, with the fact that a lot of our vegetables and fruits are pretty much a man-made product at this point. You know, if I had lived thousands of years ago, you know, before some of those things happened, who knows? But I think that it would have been different. But I know that, you know, the modern things that are in our stores, you know, if I lived out on some acreage and I could grow my own stuff, first of all, I would never do it. That's a lot of work, you guys. but if I did that, you know, then I might eat some of that stuff. But but it's not like, oh, I sure wish I had my own farm so I could eat that stuff, because I just don't. Kind of what you were saying to one extent, Adrian, like, I don't have a desire for it. I don't find things that, oh, I really wish I could eat that. Let me find a way, you know, to get it so that it's not going to hurt me. Like, there's nothing to me that I want to eat that it's worth the work or money or time or whatever that it would take to go and get that thing, just because I feel so much better. And I know I have complained about how my weight went up, but my weight has been stable now. I mean, it's stable at a little higher point than I would like, but it's actually been stable for a little over a year. It's been stable at this weight. So, and I'm not tracking. I'm just eating. So I'm perfectly happy. Now, do I wish that stable weight was at this point about 15 pounds less than it is now? Yes. But it's not anything that I'm gonna just go, change a bunch of stuff over. When I saw that family at my in-laws' house the other day, they hadn't seen me in a while, and they're like, "You look great." So I was like, "I'm gonna take that as my non-scale victory for the day." And I didn't know that they were gonna be there. I didn't dress nice. I didn't wear makeup, which I haven't worn, but sometimes I'll, wear it if I think I'm gonna see people I haven't seen in a really long time. I didn't know they were coming. I didn't do any of that stuff. Haven't seen them in a long time. I don't know that they've ever seen me without makeup, that part of the family. And they were like, "You look great." So for me, I'm like, I think I'm doing okay. And I don't really have any reason, not even desire, to add anything back. I know you, Ellie, with all the hormonal things you've been going through, I know you've gone through some, kind of gone back and forth on that. So I'll be quiet now and talk about your thoughts.
Can I just add 2 more notes? One is what I would crave is a friend of mine was just in Vegas and she was taking pictures of the beautiful vegetables with the handmade sauce on it. And I was like, I would eat that. I would eat that. That looks, I mean, I would never prepare that at home. However, my husband took me out to lunch at the Olive Garden. I bought the soup and salad, which did not turn out to be a good idea because the soup gave me hypoglycemia. But I looked at the bowl of lettuce and I was like, why does anybody eat this? It just like looking at the lettuce did not appeal to me. However, if I was in Vegas and there was fancy vegetables, I'd probably eat them. I also think I just think of our ancestors. That's just what I'm thinking of. They probably, I'm from Finland. They probably mostly ate meat most of the year, but there was a season where they probably gorged themselves on plants. They probably did. And they probably knew how to preserve some of them into the winter. But there was definitely a period where they ate nothing but meat. So I'm not saying eating nothing but meat is bad, because there had to have been. It had to have been that way. And it had to have been pretty lean too, because wild animals are pretty lean. But there had to have been a period where, even though they were different than today, their taste buds were different. They were probably like, these bitter, ugly, nasty, bug-infested berries. They're so delicious. And the protein from the bugs, too. I don't know.
It's amazing. Yes, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you know what? I think that a lot of people come into the carnivore diet and the first thing that they're kind of introduced to is that it's an elimination diet, right? Whether you do it long term or you do it for a short stint of time. I've always had it in my mind that it's an elimination diet, and I was always hoping that I could figure out my hunger issues and my gut issues and my weight and my skin and all these problems that I had from eating the standard American diet, highly processed diet. And then I'd be able to bring in some more keto options or low carb options. And I feel like, and this is so funny, I was talking to my talking about this with my friend the other day, and all of a sudden after my miscarriage, I was so out of whack. I was like, I'm going to be a baker. I'm going to make all my own bread. I'm going to make my own pasta. I'm going to do it from scratch, non-GMO. I'm going to grind my own wheat berries. We do have wheat berries in my pantry. It's like, I'm going to grind these wheat berries and I'm going to make it. Cause ladies, I'm not going to lie. Money's been really tight. And I can't afford only meat anymore. And it's really sad. I'm starting to get priced out of Costco almost. And we're going to have to go back to that meat, the what is it called? I'm blanking. Christy, you know what it's called.
Yeah, well, the restaurant supply store. Is that what you're talking about?
Thank you. Yeah, I knew she'd remember because she reminded me last time.
I'm I wanted to go back and see a haul from there again. That was fun when you did that.
Okay, I definitely have to do. I definitely have to do that. I got totally off track because I forgot my words. Oh, so I was convinced myself.
And you were going to grind them yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to grind them myself. And it's because we let my kids eat when we go eat out. We let them eat whatever they want, basically. And then at home, it's you eat what mama makes, right? And so I was like, why am I letting them eat that horrible junk filled with seed oils and crap when I can make it myself? And then I was like, I'm going to be a homesteader in my little condo, and we're going to figure it out. And I was like, you know what? I think that is a little far-fetched of a of a dream. Then as time went on, I slowly started to calm down, and we had a family member that brought us food. Oh my gosh, I was so blessed. She brought us a bunch of food. She bought me cute things from Home Goods. She bought the kids some toys, just to like bless us during the miscarriage. And she made like a giant taco salad, right? So it was lettuce, it was the ground beef with the taco seasoning and cheese. Very simple. And then she got like the little fixings on the side, tomatoes, sour cream, and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, this is a blessing. And like we really couldn't cook, right? Because like I was struggling. My husband was also really sick. And when my husband is sick with the flu, he's in the hospital, basically, like because he's on his immune system is suppressed by drugs for his ulcerative colitis. So I was like, oh, I gotta eat this. That thing tore me up. Like the lettuce made me so constipated and so bloated. And I was just like, this is a big mistake. So I'm basically like, I was able to learn what foods like mess me up, irritate me, make my symptoms worse versus foods that I feel fine with. So I was able to find out that mushrooms, carrots, and I think that was it. Mushrooms and carrots pretty much are like okay. So I've been enjoying like buying like a pot roast and like cutting it really fine and thin and kind of like cooking it like kind of searing it really quick, like in tiny little pieces, and then having like sauteed mushrooms with it. And that's been absolutely amazing for me. And I've been really enjoying that. I did learn a horrible lesson of honey. Honey made my legs, you all know I have lipedema, like that made my legs hurt so bad. And I'm talking way too much, but basically like I was able to figure out some foods I can tolerate, and then the foods that I definitely need to stay away from.
So Bruce would like to know if Con is carnivore too, Ellie.
Okay, so Con is usually carnivore. He is usually carnivore. Did we have pizza when we were both sick? Yeah, we did. We ate pizza and it was amazing, but I don't recommend it. Don't do that to yourselves because it ended up making me constipated too. Everything makes me constipated. But yeah, he is usually very strict with his meals. Because he literally feels horrible. Like he feels every morning he'll wake up and feel like a truck hit him. Like that is like the kind of, bodily pain that a lot of, processed foods does to him. Does it help with his UC? So my husband is really far along with his ulcerative colitis. And unfortunately he's done carnivore lion diet strict 3 times for 9 months straight, almost each and every one. And he had a horrible flare up after the 9 months, like to the point where he had to go to the hospital. So unfortunately, he's not at a point where he can just be strict carnivore, but it does help him with gas and bowel movements. They don't hurt. And so it's definitely beneficial to him. Hello, child. There's a child here. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, Adrian, do you mind if I bring up the topic that has been on my mind that I kind of hinted at the beginning of the show, because it kind of touches on your topic about adding foods back? So I've been seeing a lot of videos and comments from people that are basically anti-carnivore diet when you're not just eating meat, like meaning if it's a recipe, like they're basically saying, all of you with the carnivore recipes, I'm very disappointed that these people, not just one person, like multiple people, they're like upset with the world of carnivore recipes. And I'm upset about it. I'm upset that they're upset. And so I wanted to bring it up because it's been on my mind. I'm happy to share my point of view on it if you want first, or I can let you ladies address it first.
I came in the middle of that. I'm so sorry. About carnivore recipes? What's going on?
Yeah, there's been a lot of like anti-carnivore recipe talk online lately. Like I've seen videos, they're like like you people that are making those recipes, you need to stop it because it's just, you just eat a piece of meat and don't worry about these carnivore recipes. That you're duplicating the food that you were addicted to. And why do you want to do that? That kind of thing. My channel has, I don't know, probably over 100 carnivore recipe videos. I'm not taking it personal because I just have a different view on it, but it is kind of, I saw one video, okay, and then it was like it was snowballing. So I don't know what it is, but it's in my feed a lot now, these videos, but also, comments. Like I'll see comments below recipes with like hate toward that recipe, let's say.
I got a bone to pick.
What?
I get comments every single day. The only thing you can be is carnivore. You cannot couple carnivore with anything else. You cannot it is not right to be coupling carnivore with a GLP-1. Like, what are we talking about, people? We need to eat meat. There's no situation where eating meat and encouraging people to eat meat is bad. It's always good. Even ketovore. You want to eat honey? Fine. Just eat your meat first. Just like we should always be. I don't really care all the other things people do as long as they are eating enough meat to nourish their body. And other than that, I think that we shouldn't be removing all of the joy from eating, which is what some of these purists want us to do. It's just no.
So I have no, like, if somebody wants to eat a ribeye every day or what, whatever, like for me personally, I eat like picanha every day or burger patties and eggs and sausage. I rarely eat. In fact, I don't want to say never. 99% of the time, I don't make a carnivore recipe and then eat that. I do it on camera. And the reason is because, well, two reasons. One, I transitioned my son. There is no way that when I transitioned my son, picky eater with texture issues, coming from a sad diet, going to a carnivore diet, there would be no way that I could like turn off the sad diet and the very next day he's eating chuck roast. Did I ever think he would eat chuck roast? No, I did not. I had no idea. But I'm like, look, carnivore pizza and, these different recipes that I made for him, like the chicken nuggets that I did, were things that he would not be like, heck no, I'm not eating that. Like he was like, that looks good. Oh, that is good. And then he enjoyed that food. And, the transition for him happened naturally over time. He has never asked me to make a carnivore pizza in the last 9 months. He has not asked for one. He's asked for chuck roast though. Or when are we having chicken thighs again? He's asked for those things. But I think that transition, especially for kids, is tough because they might not want to do it. Like you might be doing it and they don't even want to do it. So you have to find a way that they'll agree to it, like make it palatable, and not force them. With texture issues, I don't know anytime soon that my son's gonna be eating a straight up ribeye like that because he just has a lot of issue with texture. So he goes for like the softer things. Like I said, like the chuck roast is now, his favorite thing. The other thing is even transitioning for adults can be hard. I know my in-laws, when they went to eating, they're not carnivore, but they went to eating a lot more meat after listening to me. And I brought my cheeseburger soup, to a gathering, and she asked for the recipe and she made it again, like after we were gone. Cause it's just something that's, I don't know, I guess a little more interesting. That was something that they struggled with, was this is not interesting. And even though I feel full all day and like, I don't want to eat and it's great because I'm not like hungry, but I'm like, this is like, I really want, something interesting. I don't personally feel that way. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I think that's a transition for people. So personally, and to each their own. So like, you're probably going to be way more healthy eating those carnivore recipes, than eating the sad diet. So I don't know why people feel the need to get on to channels like they put out a video on, for a recipe. And, you go down and you read the comments and it's like, this should not be happening. You should just eat a steak. Why are you doing this? You're confusing people. Like these kind of comments, like just keep those to yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Once you go used to it, you stop making all those. Like I don't make a ton of recipes. It's like my poor kids. They get ground beef and eggs. But to get people in, yes, and also from time to time, I make a Courtney Luna bread, and it's good. But Yeah.
So when
Sorry,
I
go
first
ahead, Ellie.
started, I made the muffins. They were like a quick muffin, like in the microwave out of like pork. I know how you feel about microwaves, Ellie. But anyways, I would do it in the microwave out of the pork panko, like egg and butter, microwave it, and they are delicious. And I still like them. It's not that I don't like them. I just don't do that anymore. I just don't. Like I just rather have a piece of picanha. I'm not going to say I've never done it, but I used to eat them, you know, every weekend I would have one of those with like my eggs and bacon. That was like, ooh, that's my weekend breakfast that I don't have time to do, you know, when I'm teaching or whatever. I mean, it was great. And then all of a sudden it just like evolved right out. Like I just don't, I mean, it was probably been 6 months since I've had one. I don't even know. And I don't know when I'll have another one, you know, it just, but at the beginning that was like a staple for me, like a weekly staple that I would do. So yeah, it's disheartening to me to say that, for people to say like especially if you're not like, I understand why someone like that has extreme autoimmune issues and they have to do it, right? But I don't like break out in something crazy, not with digestive issues, not with eczema, not with the stuff that we hear. If I had that, sure, I would for sure steer clear of fill in the blank thing. You know, if I eat too much dairy, my skin breaks out. So I don't eat too much dairy. I limit my dairy for that reason, because I know darn well, like after that sausage soup, and I ate a lot of it because Zach didn't like it. I was hoping he would like it. He didn't like it. I broke out on my face because the broth was like beef bone broth, but it had a lot of dairy in there, cream cheese and sour cream and Parmesan cheese and heavy cream.
All the good stuff.
It was delicious. Oh, I loved it. But I broke out right here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. I threw the last bowl of it. I threw away because I was like, it was delicious, but I'm like, Zach doesn't like it, and I don't want another pimple on my face, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. I can do a little heavy cream. I can do a little cheese. More than that, and I break out. So I know my limits. But just straight up saying you should never eat a carnivore recipe because you should just eat a steak, I'm just like, wow. People make choice for themselves. I'm not mad at that. What I'm saying is when they come on to other people's channels and start typing this stuff in the comments, that's what's been bugging me lately on my own channel and on other people's channels too.
Well, you know what I think, when a lot of these people, and I'm just going to say carnivores just in general, carnivores, they find health, right? They find that the more strict they go, usually they feel better, right? And so they forget that everyone has a beginning to their journey. Not everybody is, like you said, is just ready the very next day to just go cold turkey and to cut everything out. No coffee, no seasonings, no substitution foods at all. Like not everyone can do that. And so I think there is a lack of, maybe they just forget, or there's a lack of empathy, that it's like we're all people, right? And we all have different stresses in our lives and different things that we have to do based on our health conditions and all that stuff. And it's like, we need to remember the unifying qualities of like why we found this diet in the first place, right? Why we found meat-based eating in the first place. And kind of like saying what Adrian was saying, it's like, we all need to just eat more meat and cut out all the processed food. Yes, the carnivore waffles, they were like a lifesaver for me. My daughter, unfortunately, she doesn't like anything that I make that's like substitution food. She just wants the real thing. But yeah, like things like that. That is something that can help a child who has, that they can have a better future, right? Because they're making that better choice. That's all we're trying to do. That's something I've always prided our show on, is that we don't like discriminate people for like how they eat. Like specifically, like if you want to have some heavy cream with your coffee, or you want to drink coffee, go for it. It's just all about how you feel at the end of the day and what empowers you, because the diet isn't everything. It's what you do with your health afterward, how you help the community, how you help your family, how you like what you do for yourself. Like not everything is about food. It's about what you can do with your newfound health. And so that's my 2 cents. And I hate that there's hate on recipes, because I make them too. And luckily I've not seen that. But I'm sure it's coming.
So Bruce says, I used to make a lot of cloud bread, but it got to the point it was too much work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. That's why I'll make a recipe for a video, like I said, but I don't make it for myself because, yeah, much easier, like you said, Bruce, to just throw frozen steaks in the air fryer. I'm like, throw my leftover picanha in the air fryer or a frozen ribeye when they do go on sale. I'm good to go, So yes, exactly. And Josephine is saying, that's what I say to everyone. Just add more beef that has the fat cap on and cut back on the packed duck food. That is channeling my friend Rick. Charge him car. Absolutely, Josephine, 100%. Before we sign off, Adrian, you haven't been able to comment. I would love for you to comment on this topic.
You'd love for me to comment on what?
On this topic. The topic of, I know you said it in the context of don't add anything else, but the hate towards the carnivore recipes. Thoughts?
There's a reason that we all love each other, because we are all willing to be the most militant, restrictive people on earth. There's a double-edged sword. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I was on the carnivore cruise, and people said to me, that's not a real carnivore. That person's eating a pickle. Are there any real carnivores on this boat? And I was like, don't mind the scant seed oil on my plate is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking putting napkin over my plate, It was really funny. There were carnivore police, and they were giving citations.
I need a word
in silence.
I need a word.
But I can also relate, because I am a very militant person, and to do really hard things, sometimes you have to have very strong beliefs to get yourself to do the really hard things. So I know they're coming from a place of trying to heal, trying to help.
Go from your friend.
But I'm starting to learn what is practical for the overall population isn't necessarily carnivore. But if I can get anybody to eat more meat, mission accomplished. Please eat more meat and less of the rest.
Don't be afraid of beef. If anyone saw Nina Teicholz's an article, I think it was New York Times article, but don't quote me. It might have been a different newspaper, but talking about the resurgence of beef and the popularity of meat in this country. So I just think that's fantastic. But hi. Well, ladies, we are over our hour, so I'm going to thank everybody now for watching. Thank you for in the comments, for participating, and we're about ready to roar, as you can see by our friend down there who is so excited. So, Adrian, if you want to count us down, let's do this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Fantastic. Throw your roars in the comments.
Here they come.
Yes, Bruce. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Ellie's too young. Adrian, do you remember those commercials? Beef, it's what's for dinner. Ellie's too young, I know.
My grandma always talks about that commercial, so I know it through her.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
I'm not old enough to be your grandma. I'm not old enough to be your mother.
Mom, I'm going to break your body open.
Another life change is that my babysitter has quit.
Mom, I'm going to cut your body open.
That just makes this a little bit more stressful.
Mom, pop that off.
Sorry, we double clicked.
Yes, where's the beef? All right, everybody. We were so happy to have you with us, and we will be back next week where we do have a fabulous guest. I'm so excited because it's a channel that I watch on a regular basis. I'm so excited to talk to her. So until next week, goodbye, everybody.